Hey everyone, it's Nathan. I just wanted to show you some fishing baits I've made, some chatterbaits I've made over the last several years that have caught me quite a bit of fish, and show y'all how to make this. I posted some pictures of ones I've made up on my Google Plus account and had a lot of people ask me about them. So here's a good example of one that I've made. This is really simple bait. It's not complicated to make. You just basically need a jig head, a soup can lid, and a few other small things. I used a end of a swivel there, a clip from a swivel, to put that on there. This is really a simple bait, and I've caught quite a bit of fish on it several times over the years. So anyway, I just want to show you real quick how to do this. First thing that you need to be able to do that, obviously, is you need a jig head. So I've got a real basic jig head here. Other thing that you will need is a very small drill bit. You will need I like to use an index card. You don't have to use that, but it's really easy. You need something stiff to be able to draw out the blade. And there's the pencil to do that. The other thing you need is a soup can lid. I seriously took that right off of a dadgum lid from a refried bean can today. Pliers and some scissors. So let me show you real quick how to do this. First thing you need to do is to fold this in half. And the key part about doing that is that once you fold it in half, you can make a little shape of what you want. Most of them look like a coffin like that. And, basically that's all you need to do is draw that out, cut that out, and I'll show you real quick what that looks like here in just a second. So here it is all cut out. The reason why that's important to do is because you want to make it symmetrical, meaning that it's the same on both sides. You don't want it to look bigger on one side than the other. It will screw up the action of the bait. So here I have a little crease right there in the middle. You want to draw your holes right there. So you're going to have a hole down here at the bottom for where the bait attaches, and two right where that widest part is across the jig head, or the blade, I should say. And you're going to drill two holes there and one on the bottom. Now, if you're going to use a regular a clip, which looks like this, if you're going to use that, then you want to make that top hole wider or longer than the bottom hole, simply because you won't be able to fit the clip through there. And now, if you're going to use I found that's really difficult to do it. It is a lot easier to do the clip, but you can use just a split ring to do that. And I'll just show you real quick what that looks like once you cut that out. But the key part about that is once you cut that out, you will take that and put it right on your can. And then you just trace that around, and then what you do is you use tin snips, just standard tin snips, to cut that out. Now it's important once you cut it out, once you cut this out, you're going to have all kinds of ridges around those edges. So you need to have a spot. I just use concrete floor here in my garage. I just set it down right there on the concrete floor and use a hammer to clean up those edges, make them look real clean. I'll show you real quick what that looks like here in just a moment. So I just took the pencil here and just drew right on it. Usually I just use a Sharpie or something like that, and I'll just cut that out real quick. Okay, so here's the finished product, what that looks like when you cut it out. Like I said, there's going to be some edges there that look pretty rough. And you need to pound those out on usually that's what I do, with just a hammer, and take it around the edges there. Make sure it looks real clean, make sure it looks symmetrical, hold it up, and try to get it as clean as possible so it looks perfect on all sides. You can hold it up against your form and make sure things are correct. You can see it's a little bit wider than the actual form. The reason why is because they always cut to the outside of the lines versus the inside or right on the line, so you have enough to work with instead of too less to work with. So I'll pound this out and we'll drill some holes in it and put it on the jig, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so here it is, generally flattened out, as you can see. And you got to figure out where you're going to make sure it looks right. If you need to clean up those edges, I can see there the one on the right is a little bit lower than the one on the left as far as that outside edge. So I'm going to make sure that looks cleaned up. And then the key part is that you have to get these holes perfectly right. If you don't get it right, it's not going to run right. So usually how I do that is making sure that I match that up with my form. And so if I have this form here, make sure it matches up perfectly. You can just, if you get it right, you can cut around those edges and you can see exactly where that fold is. Let's put it in exactly in the middle of that bladed part of the jig here. Okay, here is my drill bit here with my my drill with the drill bit in it. You know, I always try to put that as close as possible to the actual chuck because of the you know, you can break off the drill bit. It's pretty easy to do, actually. I've done it several times with the drill bit this small. Okay, so here's the jig, or the blade with it actually drilled through. Now you see how I'm a little bit off on that right there. Now the reason why I can get that cleared up, I just need to make that a little bit wider on that top part. What's most important here is that this one and the bottom one are in line. If they're not, it's not going to run right. And the key part about the bottom one is you need to have that hole very close to the bottom of the jig to make sure that you get that real tight wobble. If you don't, if you have it too far up, it's not going to work right. So once you get this done, you know, I can file that out a little bit and get that hole bigger. Then you put your, you go ahead and attach your tie on. Welcome to my work desk. It is an absolute wreck. The key part here is you got to find the parts that you need to be able to put in that that tie on that I was talking about. And I figured I could find something in here that might work what we're looking for if I can locate it. You know, something like this, basically, where you can tie it on. See, here's some other ones that I've made. But you know, you basically get that tie on, or you can use a split ring if you can, and go ahead and attach that. So I can get this to focus right. Use that split ring here if you can put it on there. It's pretty difficult though. I've done it before, but it's hard to do. Let's see if I can do it again. Okay, here it is attached. As long as you can get it on there, that should work just fine. And figure out which side you want it to be facing. So on this one, you know, because I have a different color on this side, it's just a white, and on this side it's a silver or nickel finish. And so, you know, this is the side that's going to be facing out for when the blade, when it's actually going through the water. And the next part that I'm going to show you is how to put this right on your jig. Okay, so the key part about your jig to remember is you know, you can do it. I've seen it done with and I have done it this way, where you put two different ones on here, or two different circle hooks, I should say, not circle hooks, my goodness, two different split rings on here to make it match up to your hole that is on your blade. But the easiest way to do that is just to bend that back, to actually bend that open on your jig head here and put it directly on there. Now you can see where I bent that out just a little bit, and that sometimes is enough to get it up under there, but you want to be able to put that hole right up under it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so here is this how I did this. Let me show it to you. So the key part about this is make sure you put the tie on up front, and then I just basically just put it right on there, but you can see it's not bent back to accommodate the jig. Sorry, it's not focusing there. To accommodate the blade part of the jig, and so I have to bend that back, make sure it's straight, and we should be good to go. Okay, so here it is, your completed jig. Pretty simple to do. All you need to do is make sure when you do line that up, you have to look at it like this to make sure that it is perfectly aligned as far as that hook eyelet right there needs to be correct. It needs to be perfectly lined up. I'm sorry, that's not focusing right. And in this case, it pretty much is. I might adjust it just a little bit more. But you can put whatever bait you want on the back of this, and it will work like a champ. I've caught crappie with these. I've caught bass. I've caught yellow perch, bluegill, a lot of different fish. And hope you can make a whole bunch of them and really add a big difference to your tackle box. The other thing that I've done is I've actually bent this top part a little bit. So just right here at the top, where this ties on, you just bend it back just a little bit here just like that. And it gives a little bit more erratic action when it goes through the water. And when you yank on it, it'll really, really go sideways, which is what I found that the the fish love that. They're just real erratic. So anyway, I hope that is helpful for you, and hope you catch lots of fish out there.